Welcome back to Myths and Mischief. This is the Loremonger, and I just wanted to say Happy New Year. In my previous video, we explored how the original ballad created by Agatha and Nicholas was actually a spell, which I think is just fascinating. So today we're going to break down the rock cover of the ballad, which is something that a friend of mine on Discord actually broke down for me. I would like to state a disclaimer that none of this is canon, and most of this is theory.
I have learned the lesson of all that's foul and fair.
Based on what we learned from the show, we can tell that Lorna had a very tragic life, and she was also affected by the curse just as Alice was. And unfortunately, she passed that burden to Alice once she died.
Our love was forged in fire, water, earth, and air.
Considering that she was descendant of witches, Lorna must have seen her bond with her own child as very deeply connected to the forces of nature. And this is probably because of the curse that they shared.
The spell is cast, how long it lasts, I cannot divine.
I think this is the most important line of the song because we learned that this song was actually a spell to keep Alice safe from the curse that Lorna's family had passed down. If you remember, Agatha figured out that no matter where in the world Alice is, someone is listening to that song because of how popular it became, which didn't keep the curse away from her altogether, but it kept the curse from being able to take her life.
The road is there, and so I dare to risk this heart of mine.
Now remember, Lorna thought the road was real. So when she took Alice on tour with her, she was hoping to open the road and take Alice with her so that they could break the curse together. And it definitely sounds like she understood the risk that came with walking the witch's road.
Follow me, my friend, to glory at the end.
It's very interesting to me that they use this part of the song for the first chorus, because in the regular ballad we know that it's the final chorus. This tells me that Lorna's goals for the journey were more important to her than the journey itself.
I have known the power of midnights in the wood.
This line makes me wonder if she is referring to her nomadic style life as a rock star, or if maybe this is a reference to Lorna's coven before she became a rock star and their experiments with trying to call the witch's road.
I've danced inside the circle of all that's bad and good.
Again, we don't really know much about Lorna, so this is all supposition, but I feel like she is very familiar with the dance between light and dark because she had to accept both of them in her life when she learned about the generational curse, I'm sure.
The danger's great, the trials wait for those who seek the prize.
As someone who thought the road was actually real, this is kind of Lorna's way of saying like, okay, I understand what I have to do, let's go.
Tame your fears, a door appears to love that never die.
When we remember that this song is a protection spell for Alice, then we realize that this line basically says that in Lorna's eyes, love was what was going to keep Alice going, despite the curse that was riding on her shoulders.
Blood and tears and born together and alone.
In the sacred chant version, this part of the ballad says maiden mother crone afterwards, which is the reference to the witch's journey. When you consider again that this is a song for Alice, Lorna was hoping to walk the road with her daughter, I'm sure. Before we get to this next part, I want to mention something. From a musical standpoint, this next part is actually very interesting because it is a bridge, not a verse. This is an intentional diversion from the structure of the original song for Lorna to communicate with Alice directly.
Yeah.
Lorna knew she was going to die at some point. That's what the curse does. So she hoped that her song would continue to guide Alice after that death.
If I can't hold you, remember what I told you.
As a final message to her daughter, I'm sure that Lorna tried to impart as much knowledge in this sentence as she could. The final verse is also fascinating to me because it's eerily reminiscent of the coven that Alice becomes a part of.
The road is wild and wicked, winding out of time.
Consider for me Lilia's trial, where the tarot table itself actually says your path winds out of time.
Still we face our fortune, chasing the sublime.
During Billy's episode, when we saw his bar mitzvah, he went to see Lilia to have his fortune read. After the hex dropped and Billy Maximoff entered William Kaplan's body, Billy Maximoff started chasing the memory of his brother.
What's lost is found, what's fierce is bound. We're broken and we're burned.
Our beautiful Jennifer lost her magic because it was bound, and she felt that without it she was broken.
But take a breath and dance with death. My love cannot be turned.
This line could not be any more obvious that it is about Agatha and Rio and how their love endured throughout centuries and was strong enough to magically manifest a child.
Wherever it may bend, I'll see you at the end.
I love that this is the last line of the song because it empowers Alice so much and she just screams it while the demon explodes off her shoulders. As always, you know the drill. Please like and subscribe so you can keep watching more, and I will see you next time.